get it, mean it. All right. Good morning. Good morning. And welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Central Texas, where we think more expansively, love more completely, and live more joyously. All right, let's do some more of that. I'd like to thank Clark for a wonderful meditation and a good breathing exercise. So you got that. All right. And we'll get started with our festivities today. Let's start with our opening affirmation, which is on the top of page 4 in your program. And it says, "We believe that there is an infinite power and wisdom that creates everything. We are expressions of this same power and wisdom. The thoughts, beliefs, and expectations we entertain with the most energy become our experience of life. When we change our energy and our attention, our experience changes to match." And birthday girl! Our own Glenda is having a birthday on Wednesday. Yay, guys. That's a good thing. And today we're celebrating the birth of George Bernard Shaw, Carl Jung, Aldous Huxley, all pretty philosophical thinkers, Stanley Kubrick, Sir Mick Jagger, you have to say that part, Helen Mirren, who may be Madam Helen Mirren, Roger Taylor, you may not know that name, but he was drummer in Queen. Yeah, all that. Yeah, just don't start because we'll all join. And I was curious, does Sandra Bullock still own that sandwich shop downtown? Yeah. I can't remember it, but I've eaten it. Okay, well anyway, it's her birthday today. And Jason Statham, if you need to know how to do some what's up? Fight off the bad guys, he's your dude. All right, we have this Thursday night book study continues this week on Thursday night, conveniently enough, at 7 on the Zoom platform online, so check that out. And I'd like to invite Clark to come up and do open reading and treatment.
You're right. Today's reading comes from a book called Inner Guide Meditation by Edwin C. Steinbrecher. And in that book, a student asked, "How can I be sure that my guide and the contact with it are real?" Steinbrecher's answer is, accept the God figure that presents itself and go by your feelings. If you really feel love and protection coming from it, work with it. Then see what happens in your outer experience as you work with it in your inner world. Isn't that something? So in that spirit, let us go within, again recognizing perfection in every moment. And this perfection expresses itself through us, through our interactions, through our choices, through the quality of our being and our relationships, and what we accept for ourselves and others. And when we recognize that this presence is everything, absolutely everything, then we know that it is us, and we are it. And that its all-knowingness is our all-knowingness. We have that within, and we access it. The more we can surrender all that blocks our availability to it. Part of the new thought philosophy is choosing that higher knowingness that we are it without intervention from. At least we have voices that guide us that way. The inner voice and the voice of our ministers and the love that we share each together. We bring them. We give as it is given to us as grace. And the mind, the life, and the power, all one, all divine, all ours. Yea, we make and celebrate. For this is our way forward and upward through this life and all subsequent lives. So I give thanks. I give thanks for CSL, for the truth, for us together, being one together, knowing our wholeness, and this loving community, which we open our arms, invite, and cherish all who enter the door. For this door is the first to many other doors that bring us into full fruition. So I give thanks for that. I give thanks for this word. I give thanks for the power in the word that moves the law of cause and effect and all the other spiritual laws of nature. I give thanks for the Holy Spirit that knows the intention of this word. And that's all that's needed from any of us is an intention. And intentions are fulfilled. Knowing that and loving that I really see. Knowing that having been spoken, this word is now law. And already so in the mind, divine mind, spirit. And let us say together, and so it is now. And now it is my unique pleasure to introduce our musical guest today, Robert Clark Hardy, who will play his skillful classical music selections today for us. And Robert, we are very happy to have you. Thank you, sir. The last time he played for us was at Austin Ballet, way back when, before we were in country. But now he's back with us, so let's give him a warm welcome. Robert Hardy.
Thank you. I'd like to play a piece written by Francisco Carraga called Recuerdos de la Lampa.
All right. Thank you, Robert. I want to start by saying I enjoy a weekend off like last weekend and all the fun that we got to have. But I missed you guys when I'm gone. And I miss doing this. So glad to be back. And because I wasn't here last week, you're going to get 2 of these this morning to make up for it because you're on deficit mode. I want to share with you, I got a new pen that writes underwater. It can write other words too. You say they were good. I didn't. And I was a successful bidder in a silent auction last night. I got a dog whistle and 2 mines. Enough of the. All right, this morning we are going to start a Making It Personal series. And it will probably continue on beyond next week as I was writing it for this week. But like all the other series, it started as a single idea for a single talk. And then it morphed into 2, and who knows how long this is going to go. Like our other series, I ran across a quote that started it all and got the train of thought going and then moving out of the station on down the track. And that quote is this, by Leonard Cohen. When practicing Zen, at first, nothing happens. And then later on, nothing happens again. See, I think we've developed, or we have been convinced by others to adopt a paradigm that when we do something spiritual, that all of a sudden something magical, something unexplainable happens, and there's an immediate transformation and transcendence beyond all of our problems. And like so much else, the answer is both yes and no. No, it's not magical when we do something spiritual, because magic implies distraction and illusion or deception. Yes, but there are transformations that begin or happen at the level of our belief and our expectation that they can and will happen. What the continuation of a practice, any practice, does is it starts to reveal the limitations of our current abilities of that practice. And it also starts to indicate the limitations of our current beliefs system and our paradigm. Because the idea of spiritual practice is really about sitting still and stopping whatever the flow of our morning, our evening, our day may be, and letting go of the cares and woes of the day. And letting go of all the scintillating stuff and information and events and occurrences and behaviors by people that others want us to focus upon so deeply. We're told that it's just the most important thing in the world, that you pay all your attention to this, constant attention, instant attention, right here, right now. When in reality, there's really only one thing that deserves our immediate and our constant attention, and that is our well-being. And all the factors that go into making up our well-being. Maya Angelou shares, do the best you can until you know better, and when you know better, do better. Yeah. See, our own personal spiritual growth, our own personal growth of any kind, is our greatest work. Whatever that looks like to you. For you individually. Yes, there are some common practices that a lot of people do that have worked for millions of people, probably billions of people now over the centuries in human history. But the most important, most transformative spiritual practice that you can do, you ready? No, that's not very ready.
Please.
Come on, you're ready. It's the one you will do. and that you will keep doing it and stick with. Not because there's some kind of magic in sticking with it. That's not the point. Not because there aren't thousands of ways to do it. There are thousands of ways to do it. And there's thousands of benefits to any practice. It's what you learn about yourself as you start and develop and maintain and sustain the same practice. Because too often we'll flit between this and that, from now and then, from here to there, magically seeking the shiny new thing that comes along and catches our eye, magically seeking the higher high. That ever elusive secret thing that will cure all of our ills and solve all of our problems. That magic pill that if you just take it once, just once, everything will be puppies and rainbows, kittens and unicorns from there on out. Yeah, just give me one of those. I don't have to mess with all that other stuff. Okay. I hate to burst your bubble. And I hate to be that guy that tells you that Santa Claus isn't real. But somebody's got to do it. Okay. Ernest Hemingway shares, there's nothing noble in being superior to your fellow man. True nobility is being superior to your former self. Can I get a hell yeah on that one? Yeah, right. See, our personal growth starts by our willingness to leave all the fairy tales behind, roll up our sleeves, and do the actual work required. Because the work required is individual to all of us, individually. Right? So when I look at my current circumstances objectively, I see that I didn't get where I am, as I am, how I am, with what I know and what I can do. I didn't get all the progress, and I didn't experience all the limited beliefs and all the limited expression because of those limited beliefs at once. It all came about a little bit at a time. It all came about, added a little bit now, added to the little bit chosen before, added to the next little bit that continues me on in the direction and the trajectory I'm going. Everything builds on what came before. The choices, the avoidances, the intentions. It's the choice to meditate in the morning when I may have some pressing issue that really needs to be dealt with during the day. I need to deal with that first thing. So get the biggest thing off your to-do list, right? Or I may have overslept and I have an early appointment and I'm trying to convince myself that I just don't have time to meditate. But that meditation now, added to the meditation I chose yesterday and the day before, accelerates the benefit. In a way, I think it's the choosing the spiritual practice, again, whatever that looks like for you, choosing the spiritual practice that may seem more inconvenient, may not seem that relevant to what I have to accomplish this day. Choosing that over slipping into the mindset that says, this pressing matter must be dealt with right here and right now. Get it? And when I really objectively look at it, I say, well, gosh, the one similarity to all my pressing issues, over all the decades I've had pressing issues, and I think I'll probably still have pressing issues. That's part of my version of life, okay? All that stuff got to be labeled as pressing issues of the day through the neglect of what was necessary, because it was labeled as harder, more work, more inconvenient than the easy way. Which all that is that's the lazy-minded choice, which I do it all the time. Okay? And I don't know if anybody else that's spiritually evolved enough to be here this morning would relate to that. But I'm just sharing a for instance. By avoiding the pressing issue, the root cause of the pressing issue, it keeps festering around in my awareness and keeps limiting my experience. And that avoidance, and taking the easier way now, simply compounds the festering and turns a minor inconvenience into a pressing issue of the day. And that's the same individually in our life, and guess what? It's the same collectively in our bigger experience. Think about a good example. Think about your relationships, and I mean all your relationships. They got where they are, how they are, as they are by a single choice in action, followed by another choice in action in the same direction. That's all. Whether that end destination of where the relationship is now is either positive or negative, it's the same sequencing. It all builds upon itself from before into this experience. And that choice, chosen again and again and again, becomes a habit. The way it is, it's the easier choice, and the tendency is just to continue that because it's easier to keep doing something than to change. But I notice when I choose love as my intention and I intentionally include love in my reaction, I get to experience love. Whether it's noticed, whether it's appreciated, whether it's reciprocated or not, I get to experience love by choosing it. I like experiencing love. I like the endorphin rush of it. So I naturally want to experience more and more and more of that. Get the similar feeling. Now, it's time for the quiz part of the morning. Just who in your life does your regular spiritual practice? Why, that'd be you in your life, and that'd be me in my life, right? Right. Because life is indifferent to our particular experience. It is. It just does what it does, as it does, and it keeps doing it. But whatever that experience is, or whatever that experience isn't, is personal to us. It is. And that's true, guess what? Individually and collectively in our broader experience. Now, when I realize my water's not up here, I get even thirsty. Meow, meow, meow. You will remember a few months ago, for those of you that were here a few months ago, that we did a review of Don Miguel Ruiz's 4 agreements. And then, thanks to, or however you want to couch Clark's involvement in the matter, he suggested a review of the 5th agreement. Okay? But the 4 agreements are: be impeccable with your word, don't take it personally, don't make assumptions, and always do your best. And then the 5th one that Clark brought to our attention was be skeptical. Which brings us to this morning. How are those working out for you? Okay, see, most of us heard the message, and I wrote the message, and I have the exact same experience that you all have with this. We nodded along with the wisdom, thinking, oh, Don Miguel, he's really figured out the 4 keys, and now the 5 keys. Because that truth resonated with the truth within us. And maybe we even took one of the little graphic handouts in the back that had a list of all the 4 agreements and a little description that helped us remember what it was about. Maybe we even, perchance, took the advice and took one a week and really focused on that one agreement. And then, like everything else in our life that we encounter, good, bad, or indifferent, we turned our attention to other things, right? Not that we dismissed the wisdom or the potential, but other things got more prevalent on our radar. Now the inevitable question becomes, okay, now what? That was April. This is the better part of August now, right? What has happened since? You know, the thing is, it's not hard to run across wisdom in this modern day of ours, and all the things coming at us from all the different platforms and stuff, okay? We can find opportunities for transformation all over the place through the application of that wisdom. What's challenging is to keep reminding ourselves and lovingly remind each other to continue to ponder that wisdom regularly. Why? Why? One might even, just throwing this out there for those that are open to it, one might even consider adding the pondering of wisdom that you run across into your regular spiritual. I'm glad y'all so enthusiastic about it. But the level of your enthusiasm does not affect my need to keep nagging you about it. Because it is the one thing that will most quickly show you in the shortest amount of time what's standing in your way. Okay, so yes, when I say make it personal, you might say, but that sounds contrary to Don Miguel Ruiz's advice about the agreements. Okay? But because we're using the same word doesn't mean we're assigning the same meaning to that word. He is advising us to keep our ego out of our reactions as much as possible. It's not all about you. Even though it is all about you, it's not all about you. Okay? I'm saying move from the acquisition and the accumulation of knowledge into the application of knowledge. Make it personal. Moving this transformational truth from a theoretical rumination on an idea to a practical application of those ideas. Milan Kordestani, is how we say that in Texas, says self-reflection improves civil discourse by pushing you towards reason. And the practical part of this teaching is what initially attracted me to this teaching. It wasn't just expounding upon the spiritual. There's a lot of places and a lot of people that do that quite well. Okay? It was intentionally including the spiritual into the practical through spiritual tools. Now, those two things, the spiritual and the practical part of life, are not mutually exclusive or even two separate things. But our paradigm and our approach to engaging them can be vastly different. And I'm spiritual, I approach and engage this way. When I'm practical, I'm going to approach and engage this way. Right? But you know, the more I pay attention, I still remember one of my teachers, pay attention, pay attention. Yeah, to you, that's what you want, right? Anyway. But she was right. The more I pay attention, the more I'm absolutely astounded and amazed that people can think that they can separate or exclude God or spirit or the spiritual aspects of life from the daily living of our lives. I don't get it. Oh, sure, you can attempt to engage them separately, as I said, but that doesn't make them separate. They are so, now I would say so quantumly entangled that I start to see everything and everyone as spiritual. Or at least the opportunity for spiritual. That's why it is important to invest our time, energy, attention, and resources into a deeper and greater understanding of spiritual principles. And it's not so that you can sound erudite and amaze and astound everyone at the cocktail party. Do we even still have cocktail parties? I guess when you stop drinking, you stop getting invited to the cocktail party. So that's a side. Maybe that's a side benefit. I'm not sure if it's a difference. But if your ego needs those surrounding you to be amazed and astounded at the profundity of your wisdom and your knowledge and the depth of you, do yourself a favor. Go pick up that book that we're studying on Thursday nights, The Creative Process in the Individual by Thomas Trowers, and memorize and learn to recite some of his 131-word sentences. That's convoluted. That's convoluted. And it's not just convoluted just for the sake of being convoluted. It was written in the early 1900s. It's a different style, all that. But really, take that long to describe something and that many levels and commas and semicolons to get there, because it's drilling down into the depths of life, into the depths of the infinite, into the depths of the workings of the law and the spiritual principles. And since that subject matter of said drilling is so infinite, there's a lot to drill down into. There's a lot of layers of machinations to attempt to describe. Our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, shares, seek to cultivate this divine, indwelling presence, for it will respond to you, and you will know that you are not alone. More about that in the coming weeks, but we'll move on. So when I encourage you to make this life, the living of this life personal, I'm encouraging you to make it your own. Whatever that looks like for you. Don't get all caught up in the matching and the mincing of words. Don't get all caught up in memorizing and reciting the passages of a book. Don't get all caught up in perfecting the spiritual tools and learning to sound just like me or Glenda or Clark or Melanie or anyone else for that matter. That's not the point is, and the truth is, you couldn't sound like us anyway because we've all personalized it to ourselves, right? And it's not about behaving or being or sounding in a certain way. It's not about that at all. It's all about finding what works for you, what you'll actually do, what you'll actually keep doing on a regular basis. Because it's in the regularity of your practice, in the regularity of your practice, that the transformation really starts and continues. It's in the regularity of your practice that you start to get a glimpse of all the power, all the creativity, all the possibilities that have always been available to you. It's in that regularity of your practice that you start to convince yourself of the presence and the tangibility of spirit in your life. In all life, in your current circumstances, and whatever your dreams and your aspirations incline you to move towards. For it's in the regularity of your practice that you start to identify yourself as the spiritual being that you might look at somebody else and admire. You're it. It's the it in you that sees the it in them. If that's probably not a very eloquent way to say that, but that's the point. And I'm not very eloquent, so we'll go with that. I can't really say that anyone is further out on the learning curve than anybody else, right? Because we're all on our own learning curve in the place we're at, processing and navigating what we're processing and navigating. And we're all processing and navigating what we individually need to process and navigate to move further on out the learning curve. Yeah, we're on similar learning curves because we're all experiencing this human condition on this plane of action, sure. And that's why we can all offer assistance and perspective and advice to each other. Because on the core level, man, we are all going through the same stuff. We've got different flavors, different descriptors, different locations, different actors in all of it, but it's all the same stuff, really. Dr. Holmes goes on, he shares, "May all the power in the universe be with you, even as the divine light casts its radiance before you and infinite love guides you on your way." Now, I read that, and the first thing that came to mind was I don't even know what it's called, but it's kind of a version of the long time song that you perform at meditation occasionally, right? Okay. So kind of like that. But we all have to move from where we always start to move from. That's right where we are, just as we are, with what we know, with what we can do, in the ways that we can do it. All of which is created from everything that we've been through prior to right now. The real key is to pay attention as we process and navigate our ways forward from where we are, as we are, what we're doing, into what we choose to go, where we choose to go from here, and what we choose to do now and next, and who we reveal ourselves to be along the way. All that depth and layers we discover within ourselves as we move on into being the amazing and wonderful beings that we already are. And you are that wonderful being, and so am I, and so it is now. All right. Now let's look at our weekly affirmation, which is on the top of page 6 in your programs. And it's also on the little cards by the front door if you're moving in that direction. You prefer that method of consumption or involvement. And let's say this together. It says, "Starting, nurturing, and sustaining a spiritual practice yields multiple dividends both now and later. The continuation of a practice builds upon the previous benefits and grows into transformation. I see new and wonderful opportunity right here and engage it with joy." All right, let's give ourselves the gift of our good attention. Maybe take a moment or two to close your eyes, take a few breaths or reposition your physical form and just allow yourself to get present in this holy instant. In this moment right here is where our life is always lived. And the more present and the more aware we can be in the engagement of this moment, the more opportunity we will see all around us. Not that it magically appears because we did something. It's that it's all already a part of life, already a part of what's available to us. And we tune into that infinite. We become aware and sensitive to that infinite possibility by starting and developing and maintaining and sustaining a spiritual practice. Because it yields benefits as we do it, but as we continue to do it, it yields even greater benefits that compound upon themselves and pay out way into the future in multiple ways, on multiple levels. Where it becomes something that we can feel grounded in, identify ourselves as consistent in, something we can draw upon, that sense of peace and centeredness, empowerment throughout the practical living of our lives. We continue the practice and it builds upon itself and grows into a total transformation from who we were and how we saw ourselves to how we are and how we see ourselves into who we will become and how we will see ourselves. We have wonderful opportunities available to us here now, and as we get more centered, more grounded, more empowered personally, we can engage them in a higher, more deeper, wider, loving, compassionate way than ever before. We recognize this truth and this wonderful teaching as a method to engage and remind us of this wonderful truth. The spiritual tools and practices and principles are always at work. And the more we pay attention, the more we see them working, the more we rely upon them, the more we feel comfortable engaging them in the practical living of our lives. We love this community of like-minded individuals that love and support each other in all the ways we get to do that throughout the week. And we love this time together this morning, this wonderful space we get to enjoy this activity in, and the good that we are creating here that ripples out and makes an wonderful impact upon everything and everyone else on the planet. Loving it all, we deeply appreciate it and celebrate the changes that have begun, that continue on as we continue on. Loving it all, we release it with deep joy and gratitude, accept it as so, and as we say together. And so it is now. All right. And now we come to the part of our time together where we support this wonderful work we're doing together. We take the value we receive from the world for the value we bring to the world, and we pass that along with love and appreciation. We just have the bowl sitting back there by the door, so as you leave, we appreciate your conscious giving and your support of this work. I'd like to invite Robert to come back up and do a couple more numbers. They're not numbers. They're pieces, right?
Yeah.
Pieces.
Well, the first one I play is called number
Okay.
3.
Number 3.
More affectionately known as Natalia. It's a waltz by Antonio Lauro.
And are you performing anywhere we can come see you?
I will be available to find that information out on my webpage, which is Robert Harding, guitarist. I'm on Facebook, and I have a Spotify album that you can listen to. And right now, no, this is what's okay. Cool. like to give a reading to a piece a dear friend of mine has written. His name is Charles Kavanaugh. And the piece is called "The Greatest of These is Love" from the Bible. And I chose this as the last piece because it's melodic and hopefully it'll stay in our ears as we go about our mornings.
Turn me on, dead man. All right, and I was reminded that we didn't get it in the program last week, but Terry had a birthday on Thursday, I believe. Yes. So happy birthday to you, Terry. All right. Let's look at moments of gratitude and application of these principles in your life. I'm grateful that tomorrow night at the Elephant at 7 to 9, I will be with 18 of my dear friends squeezed onto that little stage. It's a sight in and of itself. But that'll be some good big band jazz, and it's fun. And I made a typo on the program, and then I decided to leave it, that it's July 126. Because when it gets in Texas to be this time of year, it's like I gotta tell you, to get as far as we got in the summer, like the second week of July with really moderate temperatures, rock on. But once it starts, you know it's going to continue for a while. It will stop. We all know it's going to stop at some point, like November. No. But it does seem like there's 126 days in July sometimes. I'd also like to say that the kids and grandkids arrived safely in Atlanta. Yay! Not so wild about that because then it's like they're not 15 minutes away. They're like 15 hours away. But it's just going to make me be more intentional and get off my butt and go other places. So it's all right. But they're safe and sound, and I'm excited for them. They're starting a new thing. And just a idea that popped up as I was doing some research. We used to do this at 10:30 to 11:30. Any interest in reverting to that? So we're done a little earlier in the day and you can beat the lunch crowd at the restaurant. That's important. You want to beat the crowd. Any thoughts? Any big decisions one way or another? Big option? I kind of liked it at 10:30 because it's like we get done a little earlier. So whatever cooler is this time of year it is. But for me, I get up early anyway, so it's like I'm waiting for 11 o'clock to come in. But if that's just something I want to throw out there because we used to do it that way, and I thought there was a reason for it. And no strong opinions one way or the other. I like it. Okay, all right. All right, we won't do it next week. We'll give some time for announcements and shifts and changes because change is difficult and hard, and got to give people time to. And so it would mean meditation at 10. Start this at 10:30. Not a big shift, but just an idea. All right. Somebody else have anything to be grateful for? Yes, Clark.
My son just had an interview that would be and an offer actually. Would be a huge step up for him.
Cool.
And just know his interest around that. All this really good forming for that well takes place and starts soon.
All right, cool. Well, yay God for that.
Local but remote. Yeah. Yeah.
Local and remote. All right, anybody else? Yes, Tom?
As I age, it seems like every year there's new health issues. I just had an appointment Friday with an issue that has been bothering me. Worried about it. And he says, "There's nothing to worry about. It's all good. I've got a happy, healthy prostate." And it's a little big thing.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
So, anyway, that's all my everything was good.
Yeah. Well, we celebrate that. Yes, Don? All right, well, thank you for that. And thank you. Yes, all right. Yes, Glenn?
I've noticed over the years that my space changes
Mhm.
as I do. And I think most of what I've noticed is that I've become in my life now for years, but it certainly has changed having another person like me there.
Mhm.
Not another person. You know, when you're alone, it's so easy to go off and get these things. Anyway, so things have kind of evolved. But yesterday, expresses as a tree.
And I, especially when you're in a big tree, you think all the stuff that's happened. That this tree is in the same spot it's been in, you know. But the tree bathing, I think, is Japanese, forest bathing. Okay, all right. So, yeah. All right. You're certifiable. Certified. You're certified tree bather. All right. Well, cool. Well, yay God for that. All right. And let's see. Opportunity for application in your life. Homework. Says these moments, those moments of these moments too, of deep awareness and being present are always available when we keep ourselves available to experience, enjoy, and share them. Next week I'll be continue on, make it personal, make love personal, and our musician will be Sharon Bourbonnais. So come and enjoy that. Happy birthday to Glenda. And we will.
I'll be here next week. I'm going to be with my sisters.
That's cool.
And with, in my graduating class, and for 29 of us. And I do for Debbie,
Well, cool. That'll be a good reunion. Yeah. Celebrations all abound. All right. And Thursday the book study will continue on. So come join in wherever you are. Let's say our closing affirmation on the middle of page 7. And it says, I am an expression of infinite divine creative intelligence. Knowing a joyful serenity awaits my recognition and acceptance, I take this moment to deepen my understanding that I am perfect, whole, complete, and dynamic. My soul is forever established in life, love, light, power, peace, beauty, and joy. I lift my eyes to the divine in me, in those around me, and in all of life. I walk out into the world with an uplifted heart and a mind open to the infinite creativity of all life, and so it is now. All right, thank you very, very much. Please enjoy this day, and we will see you the next time we see you. Thank you.